The Village and Pillage update brought a complete overhaul to villagers and also introduced racism to our favorite block game. But several biomes were left out when it came to a population of brown Squidwards, and I feel that that's a shame. The Cherry Grove, added in a later update, is probably one of my favorite biomes, with pink wood and a beautiful aesthetic, the distinct lack of villagers. I doubt Mojang will ever go back to add more village variants, but I thought I'd give it my best shot to create my own. While I don't know code, nor do I wish to tackle the idea of making my own mod, I do have a few brain cells and a will to create. A custom village doesn't seem too complicated to make, right? Well, yes and no. There are a lot more villager houses than I thought, some I hadn't even seen before until now. No wonder Mojang doesn't want to make more of them. So as a disclaimer, I won't be making every profession building in this video. Perhaps in a part 2, I will if this video does well. But I gathered a select few of houses that I thought would be entertaining to construct. I don't do a lot of planning for my builds. In fact, I'm pretty much go with the flow. Just place blocks till I think it looks good enough, but I have decided on 2 principles I'd like to uphold. 1. Make sure the village feels like the game and fits along with the style, and 2. Keep the village distinct from the others already in the game. Like every good project, it starts with plagiarism. An Asian style would fit nicely with the Cherry Grove, so I'll try to stick to that most of the time. Floating into a world where the seed that lands is right in a Cherry Grove, I start with arson to clear the area. The fire only really dealt with the trees, so the water would have to deal with the overcrowding of pink petals littering the floor. Once a sizable chunk of ancient forest was charred away, I began with the meeting area. The town center holds the bell and is where the villagers gather once every day to commune and to have sex right in front of everybody. Villagers are born with the kink of watching and no regard for public decency, much like real life. Torii gates seemed like a good choice for them around the bell. For the block palette, I thought tough and tough bricks would go along nicely with the cherry wood, along with some terracotta and later on granite. Instead of just using stone bricks like the other villages, I wanted the stone block to be a little more unique. Perhaps for a mountain village, it would be deep slate, if I ever do one. For the first building, I decided on a large communal library, where there's cracks in the walls and it's been renovated like 1,000 times. I plan for the building to be one of the larger ones, slightly more grandiose, and hopefully will stand out against the others. 2 librarians will work here, one either side of the building, starting with a tough foundation and raising cherry wood walls, placing a nice pattern of pink terracotta on the floor with pink and magenta stained glass windows, along with bookshelves accompanying the lecterns. Overall, the building looks pretty similar to other villager houses, other than it's pink, but the roof makes things a little more interesting. Tough will give us a sturdy roof to protect this sacred knowledge, but those pointy bits that stick out of the corners of Japanese buildings. Finishing touches requires filling the chest with the best enchantments you've ever seen and adding lighting like a small chandelier. Now the villagers need a place to rest their heads after a long day of working. I decided to make a small house, 5x5, like most other villager houses, with the essentials like a pig bed, crafting table, and a plant to keep you company. This is the only building where there's 2 of them, so compared to the library that was just built, it's pretty simple. The roof stays in the same style with some flower boxes either side. Next is another residential home, this time a twofer, using normal tough foundation and floor. In my head, this building was for 2 poor villagers, though this one comes with a chest, so perhaps it isn't all that poor, with a blocky terracotta roof to show these guys couldn't even afford stairs. Though, with how far a Badlands biome is, this stuff is probably more valuable than those green rocks in their chest. To let these guys not starve, I built them a neat little farm. Perhaps the heart shape is a bit on the nose, but I felt the pinkness of this whole biome would make it criminal if a heart wasn't involved, making the farm a decent size with some lights and filling it up with wheat seeds. Now I work on the second single house I told you about. 1 bedroom. In fact, there's only 1 room. I'm sure this would still go for 25 grand somewhere. But this will be a house for the lonely butcher, making this house with a base of tuff, as many of these start with a small pan on the side, housing 3 walking sausages, making the building a little taller with a somewhat double roof you see often in old Asian structures, this being the first house with a chimney for a smoker. The butcher who works here is very sad, might be a serial killer, and can only satisfy his lust for killing via these poor animals he slaughters. I want another farm here, so I'm building a house for a second farmer to call home. This house is a little different, mostly made from terracotta, and has a 2-layered style with pink and magenta, and the roof has a more pointed top where I somehow crammed the 2-layer design like in the butcher's house. I like how this one turned out actually, a little more than the other small houses, but I already built 2 of them, so I'm not changing anything. The farm is the exact same, but instead of wheat, this sucker gets carrots, along with the removal of those slabs on both farms. Then I get to work on probably my second favorite building, besides the library, a large residential brick with 4 beds. Like the library, it shares a unique glazed terracotta floor with the first magenta terracotta in the village, even matching a 3x3 window to the same design, which I'm extremely smug about, even with its own chest full of bangin' loot, like wheat and shiny green rocks like before. The roof goes up with a sort of clock tower design, with pink windows letting it light. The villagers who sleep here all hate each other, but can't afford their own homes. One guy plays loud music at night and only turns it down after the others threaten to call the police. Next, I decided to work on some real fun stuff. Every village needs a weaponsmith, as every community needs a little lava. I decided to go with granite with the stonework for this building, as it's slightly pink and I've been using tuff for everything else, and being different always brings you far in life. The building on the side is nothing amazing, and it's just simply there to hold carpet and some goodies for no one to find, as only I'm really experiencing this village, so really there's no reason to add loot into these chests other than to make it seem like a naturally spawning structure. Anyways, I feel like I could have done better with the side structure, but I'm happy with it, and especially with this almost circle-like platform that holds the lava and the grindstone. Last building, and I struggle with this one probably the most. A stonemason would do nicely and explain who's making all these tough roofs and foundations. One half would be wood, the other would be mostly all rock, as I felt it fitted. But with the way I built it, the roof was very wonky. I wanted a terracotta roof, but it looked real bad, and the end product still had a little bit of Down syndrome. But it's hardly in the thumbnail of the video, so I wouldn't be bothered by it too much. Inside is some granite, tuff, and a bit of clay for the stonemason. This is probably the worst building out of the bunch, but if you squint real hard and also happen to be blind, it looks pretty good. A good thing that the stonemason who sweats in this building is incredibly racist and has total beef with the weaponsmith, so he gets the worst designed building. Now I'm going to stop building here. I don't know how to copy paste structures from different worlds, so I didn't make every single building in a flat world to show off nicely. When I do figure it out though, I'm sure I'll come back to this village with better designed building, and also getting all of the profession houses would be a nice start. I overall enjoyed this project, and if this video does get at least 10 likes, I'll figure out how to make my own texture pack to make cherry villagers. And while you're liking this video, a subscribe would be nice, as I'm a slave to this number go up simulator, and if you could make that number go up, it'd make me very happy. Obligated social plug, and don't forget, going outside will give you skin cancer, so stay inside and watch my other videos.